Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Tank Davis must be held to the same standard as Canelo Alvarez. And look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And Gervonta Tank Davis is coming out calling himself the face of boxing. Parts of the media is calling him the face of boxing. And all of these Gervonta sexuals are calling him the face of boxing. Now, if you want to call Tank Davis the face of boxing, he must be held to a legitimate standard of being the face of boxing. Since all of these idiots are convinced he's the face of boxing, he must be held to the same standard that Canelo Alvarez is held to. Look at Canelo Alvarez. The man is undisputed at 168 pounds, has all the belts. He's the king of the division, without a doubt, made history. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis has no belts right now. Zero. He fights at 135 pounds and he has no belts. He has the Burger King belt. He literally has nothing. So if you're going to have him as being the face of boxing, he must be held to the same standard as Canelo, and he must either fight for undisputed right away or fight the next best option. And when you look at the landscape at 135, you see Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and Vasil Lomachenko. Now he must fight one of those names next, or it is an absolute duck. There's no excuse. There's no reason why any of those fights can't happen. He must fight one of those elite top fighters next, or it is a duck. He's been running from Vasil Lomachenko for years. He's obviously ducked Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, never looked their way, never made them an offer, and never entertained those fights. You know Gervonta Tank Davis has an inflated resume that's garbage. So at the end of the day, he has to fight one of those guys next because they're all in his weight class, they're all elite fighters, and he's literally fought none. Now, what you're going to have is fanboys, haters, trolls, and Gervonta sexuals come out and tell you, oh, these fights don't generate that kind of money or this kind of money. If Gervonta Tank Davis is the face of boxing, he must be held to the same standard as Canelo. When Canelo Alvarez fought Caleb Plant, he had to pay this man $10 million. Caleb Plant's not worth $10 million. He's not. But Canelo Alvarez had to overpay to get these fights. He literally gave everyone on the road to undisputed a career high payday. And that's what he must do as the face of boxing to get Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, and even Vasil Lomachenko into the ring. You see that Canelo Alvarez crossed the street to fight Caleb Plant on Showtime. Then he also fought Billy Joe Saunders on DAZN. He's willing to go back and forth. So Gervonta Tank Davis must do the same thing. He must be willing to change platforms and overpay simply to fight the best. If he's truly the face of boxing, this is what he must do. Let's see if these fanboys keep that same energy. Now, Rolly Romero, that's an unacceptable fight for Tank Davis. You see, Rolly Romero just stole or was gifted a championship at 140 pounds. Tank Davis cannot move up in his next fight and fight this guy. Why? Because Tank Davis vacated his former Burger King belt at 140, stating that he's going to stay at 135. So if you're going to stay at 135, why would you move up to try to cherry pick Rolly Romero, an unskilled fighter yet again that you've already beat? It makes no sense. So if he goes that route, you already know it's a duck. You know he's ducking all the top fighters in his division, and you know he's ducking all the top fighters at 140. Not only that, you've seen Floyd Mayweather, his daddy, come out and state that there's no way Tank Davis would ever fight Ryan Garcia at 140. So if you're not going to fight Ryan Garcia at 140, why are you fighting Rolly? That's an unacceptable fight and a cherry pick of a fight if he goes in that direction. We know he will definitely be ducking all the elite fighters at 135. It's what you expect from a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis. Not only that, Canelo Alvarez is held to the standard after he went undisputed that he must move up in weight and fight skilled killers like Beterbiev or Bivol. People didn't want to see him fight anybody else at 175. They only wanted to see him fight dangerous and skilled fighters. Rolly Romero, he's not dangerous and he's not skilled for Tank Davis, period. He's simply not. He's a goofball at best. So when you look at it, the equivalent to that for Tank Davis is either Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor. So if you're going to go up to 140 for any reason, you need to go up and fight those killers. And if you're not fighting them, say your sorry fat ass at 135 and fight Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, or Vasil Lomachenko, because other than that, it's an absolute duck. When you look at Tank Davis, he's a fraud of a boxer. His resume is trash, but they call him the face of boxing. He fights a lot of unskilled fighters who are contenders, but they call him the face of boxing. This guy is not even a world champion, but they call him the face of boxing. And Ryan Garcia brought all the attention to the pay-per-view, but they call him the face of boxing. If Tank Davis actually wants to be the face of boxing, he must be held to the same standard as the true face of boxing. Because men lie, women lie, but the facts don't lie.